Guess who's back? So I'm on a job today and I've got quite a few things to show you. So firstly, elephant in the room. Obviously I've not been on YouTube for a good 6 months or so now. I'm going to do a separate video on all that, explaining the full script, or well, I'll explain as much as I can, but I can't really go into too much detail for you, unfortunately, with it, but it's just the way it is. This job today, however, I'll be able to show you wee bits and bobs, just depending on time and what I can get into, and angles and all that sort of stuff, but I'll spin it around, we'll do a wee walkthrough and I'll explain exactly what's to get done here. So it's a wee 1-bedroom cottage flat we're in, and I was asked to come out and do a rewire survey for it. So this is our board up here, old MK board. All these circuits aren't actually in use. I'll show you obviously with the cover off in a wee bit. No isolator or anything like that, so I need to get that sorted. But I think there's only 2 or 3 circuits in use in this board from memory, so like I said, I came out to do a rewire survey, effectively done an EICR on it, and all the readings came back fine, so it really doesn't need a rewire. Passed that message on to the client, they were delighted with that because they were just thinking with the age of the house that it would probably need it. So the job spec then changed from a possible rewire to a few additions and a wee bit of making safe. So there's a few things here that need done, so I'll show you. So first and foremost, obviously that board's getting swapped out because there's going to be some extra work getting done. This old alarm is to get removed completely. I think it's obsolete anyway, there's nothing going to it. All the switches and sockets currently are white plastic and they're getting changed to polished chrome. But have a wee look at this dimmer. You don't see them like that anymore, do you? So like I said, everything in this house that's visible is to get changed over to polished chrome stuff. One of the other jobs is there's a TV going to be going in this wall, and I want a socket put up there, but from the EICR, it's an old water heater spur, but obviously it's not here anymore. I've not fully tested out that cable, so the plan was if that cable tests out fine, then I'll basically just do a chase off of that, whether it's up and across a wee bit depending on the size of the TV, but that's to get put on the back burner just now because I think the woman's getting the wall built out. I think she's getting like a media wall sort of idea, so we can cross that bridge when we come to it, but I'll test my cable and make sure that that's all fine so that I know I'm coming in to do that. Failing that, it's either going to be coming off that one, or I'm not sure if there's something in that cupboard there. There might be there's a double socket down there that I could potentially come off, depending on the size of the TV and the location of it. What else? So it's a wee small 1-bed flat, so bedroom, corridor, bathroom, living room, kitchen, and then same again, just change over some stuff here. There's a cable sort of draped along there. It's dead, but I'm going to make that safe. I was just to sort of figure out where that's going. And then an outside socket, so depending on where I can get it from, possibly just spur off this socket here for an outside socket. But this, once the board's actually opened, I'll be able to show you a little bit better, but this house is just on a ring. Then there's 2 lighting circuits, and then I think that's probably it. There's nothing really here in this house, there's not much. It's a gas hob, it's a mains fed shower, I believe. It's a mains fed shower, so there's no really high load things on it. That was the only thing that I basically says to her when she was wanting the rewire survey, that the whole house is pretty much on one ring. even though it's a small house, it's probably a wee bit better that it wasn't necessarily done that way, but the wiring was fine and the budget really didn't allow for a rewire, so we're doing this instead. So I'll crack on and I'll jump back in when I'm doing wee bits and bobs for you to see. Right, back in with a wee bit of an update for you. So main fuses fell out and landed up there. Checked these circuits out. So see how well you can see that. So there's basically a house ring. This one that's out, I was just proving that it's this one that goes down to the alarm. But the way that they've done it is that the alarm is effectively obsolete, and they've just joined through this lighting cable, the one that goes down that bit of mini trunking down into this box and in, and it's that one there, and that basically does the outside light. It does half of the house effectively. So what I'm going to do is rewire that leg all the way down there, and then just do a box in there, and I'll obviously just mark it up in the set and stuff like that, but I'll just put a wee wiggle box or something like that in there just so that it's joined through, because the client, the whole point of it was to get everything off this wall. So I'll just strip all that out. I'll probably just need to replace a length of mini trunking if I've got one on the van. If not, I'm maybe need to go and get one or speak to her and just see what she wants me to do, but that's that for now anyway. So that's just going to get joined through, so it's effectively going to be all, the two circuits there are going to be lighting circuits. That one there is a house ring, and then that's pretty much it. Strip that out, like I said, strip all that stuff out. So I'll jump back in when I've got more of this stuff out. At the point of no return now, you can see old board off, I'll chuck in that box, and new one in. Depending if these tails reach or not, I think I might just keep them. There's zero load in it, so there's no point in really upgrading the tails, they're fine. This is generally how I'll try and do it, if possible. So that's the old cooker circuit. That's the house ring. That's the two radios that weren't connected. All the sort of bonding and earthing conductors, and there's the lighting circuits there in conduit. So the likelihood is, I'm sure, I'll need to double check my results, but I'm sure there's a shared neutral in that, so they'll maybe just need to be bunched together, but I'll do another wee check on that just to make sure. But aye, this is generally how I do it. Take them up, and then that way it's much easier for them to pass through the null kicks. But what I'll do is I'll offer the board up, see roughly where it's going to need to go. If I can move this over a wee touch for space, just to obviously cover all this up, and then we'll take it from there. Don't know if you've seen it, I don't know if I mentioned, but it's a FuseBox 6-way board with SPD. I wouldn't install a board without doing an SPD nowadays. So all my circuits are through, got the fire grommets through as well, sort of bin rail height, so hopefully it'll be a bit neater. But the only thing is, obviously I brought through the old circuits instead of leaving them in that adaptable box behind, just in the event that they were ever to be utilised. I'm just going to leave them in this board just in bagels, just in case. Obviously that'll sort of restrict how neat the board can actually be. This cable's just sort of slung in the now. For my joint box, it's going to be down there as well. Like I said, these tails should hopefully just be long enough. I've taken the tails gland out, I find them a bit of a pain in the arse to use. I've had to redo the earth, or the main earth, so I'll just take that one out in a second. But I'll get all these CPCs away, the ones that I'm going to be using at least anyway, and then just start dressing in this board. But it's probably only going to have 2-3 circuits max. Almost there now with this fuse board. Just got to terminate my live and neutrals basically. So I've obviously got my ring there, lighting circuit, that's the old cooker circuit, and that's an old immersion in another circuit there, 2 radios basically. So obviously I'll tidy them up properly, put them in wagles and all that stuff, but I just want to tuck them out the way just now so I can basically get the board energised, tested, and then out of these 2 circuits I'm basically going to need to prove one of them, and if it's obviously working I'm going to utilise it for a socket that's going to get put in the wall at some point for a TV, but I'll show you that in a wee bit because I've got a few other jobs to do here. There's a good chance that the work here will get spread over 2 videos, and depending on how it goes today, it might even be stretched over 2 days, but we'll sort of know a wee bit better as soon as this board's on and fully tested. Right, board's on, everything on. All the lights are all working. I've went round and switched every light on. Obviously I've tested to make sure that there's no shared neutrals or anything like that, but obviously a functional test will also obviously confirm that. Still to tidy up this old cooker and test these 2 radios like I've mentioned, and then this has just got to be clipped there, U-length of mini trunking down, because that's basically a new lighting feed as mentioned into here. So right, I'll grab a wee tire up for that and then clip the cables in. Not that it really matters in there because the amount of old cable heads and stuff like that, but I'll tidy my bit up in there and get all this neat, and then I'll try and show a wee bit more of some of the other jobs, just like changing all this. So it's all getting changed. It's all getting changed to chrome. We're on sort of decent time today, so I'll see what I can do. This actually here is what I was talking about, the old water here. Spur, so I want to confirm that that supply is good because that's obsolete. And then there's going to be a TV going up there somewhere, not today, but if I can confirm that feed's good, then it's just going to be a small chase and less mess and cost for the customer basically, so I'll do that. Board all labelled up now, just obviously need to stick my date on it, but how a board should be installed in my opinion. Decent standard obviously. Now I'm just going to get this all clipped down that side and a bit of mini trunking, then that means I'm pretty much finished in here. I can clear a lot of my gear out and then I can just concentrate on switching all the, I can concentrate on swapping all the accessories over, and then obviously I think after that, what is that, an outside socket and stuff like that, but obviously the board was a priority because then that allows me to do all this additional work in here. So happy with that. That was a straightforward enough board swap for once. Next up, I'm going to be installing this outside socket. So the easiest way that I can think of doing it is coming off this, and I've already checked it. It's part of the ring. There's no spurs or anything like that for appliances in this house, obviously just when it was wired and all that, so I'm thinking about going straight through there somewhere at a downward angle. Straight through somewhere there, downward angle slightly. This is a bit higher up than the garden there, so it should come out at an okay height. The customer said she doesn't really care where it's at as long as she can reach it, so where I'll be drilling it through, she'll be able to reach it, no bother. I've checked, pipe there just goes to an outside tap, socket there, I'm going to be drilling as far across here, so it should be out with the zone for it. Obviously if they've stuck to that cable there, I disconnected that, that's not live, that is for outside light that they've taken through the window basically, but that's been disconnected. It's an old light anyway, so that's just going to get stripped out, but I'll drill this. There's probably no point of recording it because one, I can't get the angle, and two, it's just going to be noisy. I went through no bother. You can obviously see my daylight there, So I've done it with a pilot and then widened it slightly. I know some people like to go through with conduit and all that sort of stuff, but I don't really see the need, particularly here. So I'm just going to fish it through. I think it was a 12mm bit, so my 2.5 twin should fit through that. Just get it as straight as possible and I'll try and poke it through. I can't do this with one hand just because the cable's buckling a wee bit, so I'll just jump back in when it's done. It's fed through there now, so I might as well just take you with me and make sure I've got enough out this end. And then once I've got this cable out, I'm going to do a bit of a clear up here because it's chaos. There we go, I can see the cable there, it's plenty out. And I'm happy with that height. That's far enough away for this tap as well, so that's fine. So we'll just put a wee bend in it there so I know, and go back inside and cut it. This wee job's actually been not too bad, considering I thought I was getting a rewire from it. Obviously wouldn't rip the person off and say that it needs one when it really doesn't. That's just not what I'm about. So we know we can cut this cable now. It's going in there, we know it's a ring. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a little bit extra on this because the woman did say that she's possibly going to look at getting the kitchen done depending on money. So I'll just leave an extra wee loop on this just in case obviously that socket gets moved, because I don't know if she's going to change the layout or anything like that. There's a existing hole at the bottom there, so I'll just bring that up through there, terminate into that socket. Right, on a side note, I know BG gets a bad rap for a lot of stuff, and I can understand why with some of it, but the new version of these outside sockets are brilliant, so much quicker and easier to install. I've put in hundreds of them and no issues with any of them, so I really like them. Right, that's that connected in there. Take that out just to give it a wee quick testing out. So I'll grab my phone. Switch it back on there. Appreciate there's no been much actual work getting done today, like for you to see. But like I said, just with the nature of the work that I'm doing today and the fact that I've not done this in about 6 months, just get back into the swing yet. I don't have some of the stuff that I need to do an actual video and all that stuff, but I don't know where you can see. It's not coming up on that, but I'm getting my two green lights. I don't know why, don't know if it's the GoPro or my wee socket tester. But that's that done. Like I said, that's still we get silicon, but I'll do that at the end of the day. Aye, we're on a home straight with this. I'm just going to be switching out all the appliances for chrome instead of the white. Again, nightmare one handed. I'm going to buy one of the wee Bosch Go screwdrivers, even just to save the risk, but for doing stuff like this it would just be so much quicker and easier. Oh, look at that. This is obviously off, I've switched everything off, but it's just popped out straight away, the wee screws sitting in the back there. But I'll put the GoPro down and it's literally just going to be a case of swapping them over. I'll go and grab a wee bit of sleeving just to at least mark one of them as a switch live or whatever. Right, I thought I'd just jump in with a wee update. I've had to crack on a wee bit with this, so an update for you. Got all the switches on, as you can see there, all my switches. Got all the stuff in the kitchen done. In this bedroom, got that done there. There's a double socket down there and there's a double socket, a TV point there. Obviously, as you've seen up the board. Still to put my dates and stuff like that on it, but just working, still working on it, so I'll do it at the very last minute. So the only thing that's left to do is double socket, 2 spurs, double socket over there. So as for the sort of this video, as for we're concerned with this video, that's it pretty much wrapped up. I'll do a wee proper outro, but probably not show any more content of this. Plus I think the client's on the way home sort of thing, so I don't really want to film, even though I've got permission to film doing the job. I'm not really wanting to film while she's in here because it's just a bit awkward, isn't it?